Welcome to Gemcast Live. Today with us we have Sarah and R.L. Butler, and we will be reading Sarah the Supportive Dragons, also known as Camillethespellpire. So many names. We'll be reading her story, and so without further ado, let me introduce the writer herself.
Hello, it's nice to meet everyone. My name is Sarah on most of my stuff, but yeah, like they said, Camille the Spellspire is my pen name, and it's what I go by on almost all of my written works.
Cool. And so now, without further ado, here is our reader today, R.L. Butler.
All right, let me just get things pulled up here
Mhm.
so that you guys can follow along.
Awesome.
Okay. Here we go. Prologue. The land and rock were the firstborn of our world, brought forth by a great impact that shook the very stars and woke our sun to shine down upon us. With time, the heat of the earth faded away, and with that very shift came the first storms. The elder had only spoken the first words of the legend when a voice popped up. "Is this where our storm gifts come from, Granny Sylph?" a child asked. The elder Tideborn chuckled. Her tail was bitten and torn, so swimming long distances had become hard. She did not show age like the humans that walked the land. Her body was covered in scars from many battles with the land dwellers in their wooden boats. The green and pink-skinned mermaid smiled and brought a clawed finger to her lips. "I believe so, little one, but let me finish," she said, gently motioning that the child come and braid her hair. The yellow Tideborn quickly swam to her elder and began clumsily playing with the old woman's dark pink locks. As I was saying, it wasn't long after the sky cried his first tears of joy and life that the first deep waters began to form. From this the gift of Father Sky and the twins that are the stars and the darkness between, the first spark of life was brought to us on the back of fish from the stars made of fire. Her hands flared out, causing a quick spark of electricity that gets the kids to laugh and gasp, some scooting closer in their curiosity and excitement. With the first spark came the will of the sea, the land, and the sky. All three together danced and shaped the world. It was much different than it is now. The twin sisters worked apart for so long. Strange growths shaped the land, while the sea made tiny things that swam and grew as well. Slowly, with time, the first being from our mother sea took its first breaths of Father Sky's air, then happily covered itself with the dirt and moss of Mother Earth. She sighed, smiling as she imagined the Blessed One, the first to ever show itself to all the world's power and might and be cherished enough for the gods to truly help them grow. "Is that why the bald monkeys are on land? Do they hate Mother Sea?" the child behind her asked, and she couldn't help but snort. Sighing, she scratched the scar that ran up her cheek. "I don't think they hate the Mother Sea, my love. I have seen many come to her edges to bask in her beauty or to take only what they need to feed their loved ones. All beings have a chance to be tainted by want," she admitted softly. "But you must also remember the humans lost their gills and fins when they chose to be Earth Mother's children. That is not an evil thing, for many animals grow and shape so they can live best where they are born," Sylph said gently. "Anyway, where was I? Ah, yes. So, with time, the first walkers began to leave some behind, and so those who remained in the sea grew alongside those of the land. Both mothers embraced their children, and some even chose Father Sky as their favorite home. This pleased all three very much, for they all had children born to their natures. We were born the moment humans began to use tools alongside them. We had grown mostly as animals. When the spark of the mind came, the Mother Sea saw how the humans took what they wanted with much trickery and learning. She sighed with a sad look in her eyes for just a moment before she'd smiled wistfully. So she gave that gift to us as well, once Earth Mother agreed, for our Mother Sea worried that humans may take too much over time. So it is our duty to protect this world of water as we can. She sighed a bit, rubbing her brow, a look of her age carried in her eyes and motions rather than her shape. For Tideborn did not age. They were unending until the moment a weapon took them or their life's mission was complete. "Granny, are they monsters?" a child in the group asked, and the Tideborn reached out, gently cradling the child against her chest. She petted the little one's head. "A monster, my child, chooses to be so, or is so lost they cannot help it. So we fight when we must, and feed the same. We must always remember that humans, as cruel as they can choose to be, are still our twins of the land," she mumbled, gently kissing the top of the little one's head. "So then, now we know our origins, allow me to tell you of the legend that we thought was only a dream for some time, one that came true just recently," she mutters. And the little one in her arms nuzzles in close, relaxing in her elder's arms. "Are you talking about Sea Star and Auntie Abyssa?" the little one asked, causing her elder to smile and nod. "The very ones I'll speak of the legend that brought them together and brought hope back to our land, or back to our kind." Taking a deep breath, the woman began the tale as best she knew. For a time, our people were aware of a legend known as the Twin Tales. It was said it happened, though rarely, a moment with a child of the sea and one of the land may embrace, if they choose to do so willingly. Well, it is said their songs will forever be intertwined. It is said that the landwalker will grow fins if they wish and join their love in the ocean, but also that the Tideborn may walk the land in return, never locked to the sea again. She smiles at this, remembering the shock of her beloved queen's face when she took her first steps on land. So skeptical that the legend was true and that her love of Star would pass. So it started in the blood ball. Our queen noticed Star and sent her away before the slaughter. Every year, the girl's father offered up his people, very few knew, and the princess had no idea of this. She had snuck away to have fun, to be curious, as is normal is the nature of our people. She chuckled at the idea of a human as wide-eyed and curious as one of the Tideborn. Fascinated by the girl's wish to learn and love of the sea, our queen realized the legends were true. Gifted the chance to walk on land and seek her consort, she pursued her without end. She was kind and patient, though often our queen was so quick to act in aggression, as one who makes decisions for an entire people must sometimes. I have never seen her look so young in ages. I was often spoken to during these times to help select gifts, and oh, how merry a time it was. It was humbling to see a human more fascinated by shells than the sunken gold of man. The old mermaid smiled, running her hand down her arm and tracing the tattoos that marked her triumphs and losses. I knew then that it was only a matter of time. To see our queen's face fill with such gentle love for someone, to see her have hope for those she had sworn would simply destroy us and never be our sisters and brothers again. The elder twitched and played with some stones nearby in one hand, trying to keep herself busy. Since a sea scar hunter had destroyed her tail, she had been unable to swim far without the aid of others in her pod. With time, the girl came to know the truth, and they shared moments of secrecy and love. When the first bite came, it was shown right away that Star's heart belonged to our beloved Abyssa, for the bite bloomed a tide marking like ink on pale skin. Hers is like coral on her bone, here, she says, touching her left collarbone and smiling. I have seen the mark up close. It shows even small fish hiding in the coral growths. A higher voice note pops up from the group. The child known as Sea Grape, who was often very quiet, though her voice showed promise to break glass and separate water when the time came that she was ready to learn to harness it. But, Granny, if she and Abyssa love each other, why can't Star ever go back home? The larger mermaid flexed her tail and stretched some. The children really were wonderful. They had no fear about what they asked. If they were told to ask questions more often, perhaps the world would be a more upfront place. The father of Star did not approve. He tried to keep them apart. Abyssa stormed his castle, unafraid to die for her beloved. She has net scars on her back now for this choice. Her lover came, and it was that Abyssa is the strongest and oldest of us that probably saved her. Granny Sylph played with some of her hair as she thought out loud. When it was done, they both chose the sea. There, Star offered herself to our queen, wholly, saying she would never choose to leave her side. So Star's fins sprouted, and their tails intertwined in union. She slowly sets the child down from her arms, wrapping seaweed around the little one's belly so she wouldn't float off. So now we know the twin tails is true, and whatever path the soul-bound chooses is the one they often live forever. Star and our queen have chosen the sea, and so it has changed Star the most, but because of their special bond, both may walk the lands whenever they so wish. The elder paused to feel the current of the tide when the thought came to her. She clapped her hands together and smirked. Now, my children, it's time to feed you lot and tell you some tales of hunts and battle. Life is not all love stories and joy, she finished with a smile, as there were a few shouts asking for favorite foods. Especially clams seemed to be the most popular request today. Chapter 1. Amara was shaking as she dragged herself a few feet more along the shoreline, doing everything to distance herself from the chill and wetness of the sea. The hot sand clung to her mocha skin. The cry of the pelargorn and the great auk were foreboding. A reminder that she was no longer on human shores. Where the auk wasn't that big of a deal and couldn't fly, the pelargorn could be dangerous if they decided the merchant wasn't able to fight back. A 13-foot bird with serrated beak wasn't fun to play with when it felt opportunistic. She breathed heavily, her heart racing. Exhaustion tugged at her body, limbs weighed down by wet linen shirt and breeches. The woman grew still as she tried to catch her breath. She was already regretting the earlier desperate swim for shore. The trade vessel had gone down, along with everything and everyone. The moment she'd hit the water, time was of the essence. Not because she didn't care or that there wasn't anything of worth on the ship, but because they'd all heard the laughter and the songs. They were like hideous, hungry angels on the surf, as the ship began to sink into an inexplicable fog. Then the screaming. Gods, the screaming. The blood-curdling cries had filled her ears alongside a haunting song of so many voices. Never had she imagined that, even on the edge of Tideborn territory, could so many predators be in the sea. Amara turned on her side, trying to catch her breath as she gets a glimpse of the sea. We barely ventured into Tideborn waters, and they drove us straight into their feeding frenzy. The sight of a man clinging to driftwood brought Amara crashing back into reality. Sitting up, she looked around, trying to spot anything that may be useful. The best hope was a knife on her hip, but that wouldn't do. It wouldn't stop them. Damn it! I'm sorry! I'm so sorry, but I can't come in after you. They'll rip me to shreds. The trade captain's eyes caught the man's on the surf as the tightness swelled in her chest. The man waved at the shore, looking around himself, his eyes filled with terror as he spotted the shifting shadows in the surf. The deckhand shifted to try and keep the circling monsters in sight. Amara shuddered when serrated fins began to circle him. A woman's torso, with long, flowing black hair, slowly rose up out of the water. He looked afraid, even puzzled for a moment before the yellowed-skinned Tideborn suddenly lunged at the deckhand. She looked away when the screams started, squeezing her eyes shut and praying it would be over swiftly. His keening and terrified cries filled the air as the woman of the seas shifted into a hungry, high-pitched shriek while others sang. The words were inhuman and beautiful. They swirled in the human mind until Amara gleaned a type of feeling from what the song meant. Hunger, hunt, joy, death, birth. The captain opened her eyes in time to see the blood mixing with the surf. Any sign of the man was now gone. The heavy hammering of her heart filled her ears as she stared out at sea. This close to the water was dangerous. She had to move, and soon. The captain felt her body tense. Excuse me. The captain felt her body tense when one of them stuck its head up out of the water. The mermaid was pale with flowing red hair like fire, her eyes a solid green, skin a soft sea foam to match them. She wasn't eating with the others, but watching Amara from a distance. Freckles of a darker shade dusted the creature's skin, and it had no shame as Amara glanced away at the sight of the Tideborn's exposed upper half. God, sometimes it's scary to think that that thing could be beautiful at a distance. Shivering, the woman slowly crawled to her feet and tried to get to the tree line. She grabbed a tree for support, still shaky, clinging to it. Figure out where to start just to get through the night, then find a way off this cursed rock. Sighing, she rested her forehead against the truck for a moment. The woman tried to calm down and collect her thoughts. She should be safe. Tideborn couldn't walk land, with storm or with solstice. At least that's what Amara had been told growing up. Gods, hopefully that was the truth. Otherwise it was only a matter of time when they got curious or hungry enough to come after her. I'm not sure which scenario would end worse for me. The exhausted woman dared to glance back. She felt a cold jolt run down her spine. A second mermaid had joined the first to watch her from a distance. Its hair was dark black and flowed like long strands of seaweed. Her skin carried a rose-like tone that shone in the sunlight. Amara doesn't wait any longer and slipped into the tree line. She would need rest and water before she could even try to figure out how to get off this island. Not to mention food if she was lucky enough to survive the night at all. End of selection.
Wow, wonderful. First thing that comes to mind is I really like the opening. I like that you use the narrator. Like it kind of reminds me of how I do third person omniscient. But then at the same time, when we go into the chapter, you are able to really like go in and zoom in on the character and their thoughts and their feelings. And the sense that I got was like this, you're a good storyteller. Like I can see why this has got some popularity.
Yeah.
Hey,
And thank you.
no, please go on. Let me, as a matter of fact, let me ask you, like, what inspired you to write this story?
Weirdly enough, it's a song by Florence and the Machine called Mermaids. I listened to it for about a week straight and was writing notes for about a month afterwards.
That's awesome.
That's pretty
Yeah,
cool. It works that way for me too. Like, although I don't know that I have like actual, stories come to mind, but like once I'm writing a story, music is a huge inspiration. If I walk around and listen to music, I get all these scenes, and how does it work for you? Like, so you said you're listening to the song, you were making notes. Were like, was just a plot showing up, or did you just first get characters? Like, how did that work for you?
I get open scenery. It's almost like I get segments of a movie playing in pieces through my mind, and then when I'm able to edit and sit down and read it back to myself, I can add connecting pieces or words or even just scene pieces to put them all together, pretty much.
Sounds very cinematic. Like, what did you think, Butler?
I really enjoyed it. I've read this section before and I still love it the second or third time around. It's awesome.
Yeah, and I really liked hearing you read as Granny Sylph. You did awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, but Butler's amazing. Like your expression really comes off like really well.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Oh, hopeless. Let's see how do we. Well, basically,
Let me read the question before you answer it. Like, because
oh,
when
my
we have
apologies.
people, no, you're great. So when we have people watching, they know what you're going to talk about. Hopeless asked the question: how did you manage the balance between the humanity and the horror of the Tideborn?
Well, you have to remember that not everything is a monster, and even some of the most terrifying of animals have a side that either cares for themselves or others, and it's just remembering that they're eating to eat. They're not eating to torture or harm others, as in a sense as just to survive. And so they're still a community. They're still people. So it was also developing the idea of what they are as a society alongside what they must do in order to feed.
Ah, that's outstanding. That's yeah, I love that
Mhm.
too. Okay. What were you going to say before Butler?
Oh, I was just nodding along and agreeing that I liked it.
Yeah, it's well written, it's well thought out. It's like Sarah said, it's like really cinematic. Like so I could see how she gets the ideas from the music that she described and then it comes off so like it sounds like you're watching something.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, Sarah.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's one of the reasons I love writing the way I do is if you add enough of a sensory, sometimes it'll just put the images in your head. And some of my favorite books would do that. Some of Tarzan felt like that, or some of the older stuff, like even if you read some of the better fiction from before the 1930s, some of it will actually give you more of a cinematic feel if it's not written in a way that was more similar to a diary. And so it's fun to put that into the writing itself, you know?
Yeah, it's my favorite aspect. Like me personally, like I'll die on the hill of third person omniscient, like because of that. Arteranth asks, "What is the inspiration for the vampire mermaids come from originally?"
It would be the music, but it was the lines in the it was the lines in the song along the lines of we thought we came for love, but instead perhaps we came for blood that inspired it as a thought of what if a mermaids were looking for that chance to be with somebody or to change and leave the sea, but when they became disheartened that it didn't even exist, they decided to feed instead, and so that was where that came from because technically this would be like book 2 in what actually has happened in the world, even though we aren't seeing the original, we're hearing pieces of it being cascaded down into this story.
Okay. I like how organized you sound about it. Do you have an outline? Is this just in your mind and you just keep track of it? Like how do you keep your world organized so you know where everything is at?
Most of it's in my head. However, whenever something comes up in a scene or an idea or even just like a profile on a magic item or anything, I will take down notes. And half of my notes are disorganized and it's like, "Wait, this seems like it would make more sense if it fed into this scene." And so I'll take them and I'll put them together that way.
That sounds great. It's good to be that flexible too. Like you're able to pivot. Um like okay, now Butler asks, do you ever plan on writing a prequel about Star and Abyssa?
Yes, I actually know how it began and how it ends, and we're actually seeing what happened just after the end of the story with Granny Sylph leading into Amara.
Yay!
All right. That thank you for writing this. It's so like it's so unique and like epic sounding but cozy at the same time that I think it appeals to a pretty large readership because of that. And thank you Butler for reading. You are awesome like and you make everything come out to be so real. Thank you very much. And with
Thank
that,
you.
I will conclude today's reading. Check out Sarah's stuff on Substack.